You know what the difference is between a contradiction and a paradox? Contradiction and a paradox. They're very closely related. A contradiction is a noun, and it means it's a combination of statements or ideas that sound like they make sense, but when considered are opposed to each other. Some examples: military intelligence, friendly takeover, working vacation, government ethics. Those are contradictions in terms. A paradox, on the other side of that, is also a noun that sounds like a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory idea or statement that, when investigated, proves to be true. So you have a contradiction, something that looks good but actually contradicts itself. It proves to be false. And then you have a paradox, something that looks false but proves to be true. Here's an example of a paradox. To be truly free spiritually, we must become slaves. That's hopefully not a new concept to you. And it's a true thing. The world outside of the church, people who are not disciples of Christ, would call that a contradiction, a patently absurd statement that if I want to be free, I have to become a slave. There are many paradoxical statements in the Bible, things that seem like contradictions but end up not being. And when we examine them, we see that there's truth to those statements. We're going to look at one today, and we'll see several more in the next 2 or 3 chapters of John's Gospel. Today, as I said, we're going to wrap up the account of the man who was born blind and then later healed by Jesus. And in this, we'll see the paradox of the people who are blind and yet can see, and the people who can see but are still blind.